All right, now that Naya Create has come out with a firmware update and released their Flow software, we can finally do a little bit more of a review on system functionality with various computers. So here we go. This is the package that the Create comes in. So depending on what you order, you may get something that looks like this. This is the Y cable that connects the computer to each half of the Naya Create. Important note that this is somewhat of a special cable, and it does talk to both sides. So make sure to keep this safe, as it's used for all kinds of firmware updates and further functionality unlocks. Here is the different halves of the Create. This is my own ad. I'll talk about that later. These are the modules and the halves. And here is a USB dongle. Don't lose this. It's tiny, easy to lose, but this will be, again, another future unlock. It's not usable at the moment, but for RF dongle features, that will be used later on. You see there's 3 different modules: the touch, the tune, and then the track. And they are interchangeable amongst all 3 of them. So power them on, and the little switches on the sides. There's the switch that I turned on both sides. You can see them starting to idle in their rainbows as usual. So the way this goes, this is a touch, and this is a standard touchpad, very nice kind of matte glass finish. It does do gestures. This right here, it has a bit of a clicky feel to it. Like it does kind of reverberate as you click, so you can have a little bit of force feedback to know when you've hit a certain kind of tick. But currently, it's not too configurable. You can use it to either volume up, volume down, scroll up and down on a web page, or one other thing, I forget. I just kind of leave it on scroll. That's all I use it for currently. And then it is the standard trackball kind of thing, and if you swap it in, you can see, and then there's buttons around the sides for the different mouse buttons as well. There's the center, the middle, the right, and then one of them locks it to scroll. So that's what those features are, and it is fully hot swap capable. And to kind of show you it in action, here's a Linux machine. It does Bluetooth just fine to it. So I can go around here, I can click on something, I can open up a browser, I can talk, and I can say, hello world, and I can do whatever I want, as usual, you would expect from any keyboard. And then if I want to move to a different system, this one over here is Windows, I would just say, let's move my connection over, and give it a minute for the initial connection, or go to sleep on me. Hello. Okay, we're searching something. There it goes. A few glitches. Remember, this is beta, but there it is. So now that I'm over here, I can switch back if I want, and I can switch back over here. So this is the Flow software, and to just kind of demonstrate swappability, I can do this as well, and it starts working right away. You can see I've switched it over to Colmac as far as my alphanumeric layout, and there's some of the buttons that you can program. It's nothing too fancy right now. There's no macros, no further features. It's basically just simple key swaps, and you can't program any of these yet, but it at least gets you to the point where you can press the keys and have it spit out what you want it to spit out. Yeah, otherwise, it works pretty much as expected. I can swap between different systems, and I can swap between wired and wireless very smoothly with minimal issues. You saw basically the only glitch that I've come across. Otherwise, the tenting works really nice. I prefer it intented, and there has been some feedback that it's a little harder to use some of things, especially something like the touch when tented, which is true. It takes a little bit more getting used to, but it is nicer to move, as opposed to moving all the way over here for a mouse somewhere, hunting for the mouse, trying to find it, and then coming back and finding your place. It is a lot easier to do this and then come back. So it is still a bit more movement than some other keyboards maybe that you might have seen, but it is much nicer to have the features to be able to swap these guys in and out and be able to find your home much quicker. Otherwise, what I hinted at for this MagSafe ring, if that tenting isn't enough, because this is only 27 degrees, if you're one of those people that like to have a higher tent angle, you can use something like this. This is, I think, the U-Green, a U-Green phone mount holder. You could do something like that. And you can connect it up, and you can get whatever angle you want. Granted, that kind of defeats the purpose of the low profile nature, because then you might want to look at a wrist rest if you're kind of person that rests your wrists on something as opposed to hovering, like we all know we should do. But if you're not a hover person, like me, then you might want to look into something like that. Otherwise, I've been using it like this, and it works great. Yeah, I am not terribly active on YouTube, so I will try to answer some questions, but hopefully that's been a little more enlightening. It does work pretty good. Thanks all.